voter ID, clean voter rolls. That's kind of the core of what's in the SAVE Act. It's all about ensuring election integrity. It's common sense stuff. And it's wildly popular with the American people. And today was the vote. First on the rule governing the debate. Tom Massey was the only Republican to oppose that rule, by the way. Then the vote just minutes ago on the SAVE Act itself. Now, the SAVE Act narrowly passed because 213 Democrats, 213, voted against it. Only one Democrat, Congressman Henry Cuellar, voted yes. Good for him. So why the Democrat opposition? Well, it was one disingenuous argument after another.
This is election rigging. This is voter suppression. The American people aren't going to stand for it, and nobody should vote for it.
The Save America Act is just another part of a scheme by House Republicans and the Trump administration to take over our elections.
What this bill does do is make other problems and make it harder to vote. It undermines our democracy.
I love the reading. They just have to read. They can't think. They have to read. Senator, great to see you. Senator Eric Schmidt from Missouri is with us.
So the Safe America Act passed the House, 218 or 217 votes to 213 votes. All of the House Dems voted against it. Why is that? It's because the Safe America Act is basically an act that has a national voter ID, meaning every state must abide by the rules of, if this bill is passed, everybody must bring an ID in order to vote. Passport, real ID, naturalized paperwork, all those things. It's basically saying, sorry, California, you can't just say people come up here and say your name and then they can vote. There's no more of that. We need real ID. And this tells you right here, the people fighting against this are the people who've been benefiting off of this not being in play. The Democrats. They are against this. Why? Because their voter base is illegal immigrants, people with no papers, the people who they give all the benefits to. So of course they're going to be against this bill. All 213. I believe there's one Democrat that did vote for this. But that just tells you right there, the people that are speaking the loudest against this are the ones who have the most to lose. That's why these House Dems are all voting against this, but now it's pushed to the Senate. This is what happens when you have the wrong people in office. They're in favor of not America. That's what the Democrats are. That's what the House Democrats are showing by going so against this bill. Why wouldn't we have IDs to vote? Well, we need IDs to get liquor. We need IDs to get tobacco. We need IDs to go on a plane. We need IDs to get a mortgage. We need IDs to open up a bank account. We need an ID for so many things. So why can't we have IDs for voting? This is one of the most common sense bills that I've ever heard. Why wouldn't we have people bring an ID to make sure they are who they are and make sure that they are an American citizen? We got to stop having non-American citizens vote on American issues. That's the reason why you look at this Congress. We had a lot of people from different countries. It's because they've been voted in by their own people that are not from here. We are just bringing back common sense to politics and bringing common sense back to the voting. That's all it is. The Democrats are so critical, and they need to have the illegals and the refugees and asylum seekers because they lost the black vote. And they're losing a lot of the American or the naturalized Latino vote as well. So they have to find their vote from somewhere else because the people that they were depending on all the time is no longer voted for them. That's the reason why they are panicking. Now we're going to see what happens when this bill gets to the Senate. Will it get pushed through easily so we can see? But I definitely feel like this bill will get pushed through time. But why wouldn't we have an ID to vote? We have IDs for everything else. So now all of a sudden the ID is not important when it comes to voting? I just think it's just common sense to me.
So now the SAVE Act passed, and Tom Massey did vote for it, I have to say. Good for him. But it's coming to the Senate. I believe Lisa Murkowski has already said she's a no vote from Alaska. What's the fate going to be?
Well, we ought to push this. I think the American people want us to fight, Laura. This is an 80% issue. And by the way, over 70% of Democrats support this. So Democrat elected politicians are totally out of touch. And this is, I think, if you look at 2024 election, it was the return of common sense. And nothing could be more common sense than actually having to prove through photo ID that you are who you say you are to vote in our elections. If we believe in secure elections, this is absolutely something we should do. And you have to do it to check into a hotel, to buy a plane ticket, right? Everybody understands that. Why would the Democrats oppose it? It's interesting it's happening at the same time as we're having this illegal immigration debate in this country, because effectively the Democrats know they can't win elections fairly and they want to cheat. They want people who are here, they've imported people here to vote. They want people to cheat. They want to do ballot harvesting because they know they can't win an election fair and square anymore. So I think this is very important for the Senate to take up, push hard, and let the American people know that we're fighting for them, we're fighting for our republic.
Makes common sense to me. I just feel like I said, if it makes sense, then we got to do it. If that's the case, if we don't need an ID to vote, we don't need an ID for everything else. The most important thing for our country is able to vote and using our ID to vote. So if we don't need an ID for that, why do we need ID for everything else? Oh, because they need to verify who we say we are. That's what an ID is for. An ID is for to verify who we are and if it's true or not. Huh. That makes sense. That's why you guys won it for the elections. Because we and you get to see that I am who I say I am and I have an ID. Why is there so much pushback? It's because, like he said, the Democrats been cheating. They brought in so many illegal immigrants that voted for them to keep them in office. But what you're going to start to see when this bill finally passed through, you're going to see a lot of Democrats falling, especially in the House and in the Senate. And also what you're going to see is probably the next 3 to 4 presidential terms will be a Republican, because it's common sense now. It's common sense. Now what the Democrats have to do, they have to come up with real laws, real things to help America. What we see one party that's for America and we see another party that's not for America. It's clear as day.
Now, the New York Times, no surprise, says this is ridiculous. There's no widespread illegal voting. Out of 49 million registered voters that have been registrations that have been checked, the department referred around only 10,000 cases to Homeland Security investigations for further investigation of non-citizenship. That's about 0.02% of the names processed. Senator, what of that?
Well, it's very hard to prove this after the fact. Everyone knows that. As a former attorney general, I can tell you that. It's very hard to prove after the fact. But I think in the Save America Act, what we've got is not only do you have to provide proof of citizenship, which seems very common sense, provide your ID when you vote, common sense, but also really have a mail-in balloting that's like if you're truly disabled or you're at home, that's one thing. But what you're seeing across the country is this mass mail-in balloting and drop boxes. It's ripe for fraud. We need to rein this in. We got to protect this country, and it starts with the Save America Act.
We need to might as well just go ahead and make just voting electronic. It got to be on the computer. You see how many times that if you try to create a new YouTube, how many verification things you need to go through. We need to go ahead and do that. It's the mail-in ballot system is too old school. It's ripe for fraud. People can steal it, change it, put stuff in. The count is off. We need to go back to either electronic, go to electronic where you can do everything, where you have a picture of your face, scan all of that, contact those companies that do that, or you need to be able to go in and walk in, but you have to have your ID. This is just nothing but common sense. But when you see people fighting against common sense, it's because they're the ones benefiting off of people not having common sense. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. As always, keep things rock, keep it going. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. As always, I appreciate you guys, and we're going to lock it in. And make sure you tune into the Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. No Filter Morning Show. Got some goodies on there. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I'm out.